going to show you how to build this. People think it's solid concrete, but it's not. It's actually framed and cladded and rendered to look like concrete. And I'll show you in a way that you can redesign this for your own needs. There's 6 or 7 stages to creating this. The first one is design, then the framing, then the cladding. Once you have the cladding up, it's called beading, corner beading. It's a metal strip, or it could be made of paper with a metal corner. It makes your corners solid and gives them a nice clean line that you can't effectively do, that I can't effectively do with just a scraper. Actually, my mother-in-law does all the rendering stuff because I'm not very good at it. After you put the bead on, you put the compound on, which seals up the seam. Also, you've got to put the compound tape on to cover up the seams. And then once that's on, then you can render it. And the last step is sealer. I'm going to cover all those 6 or 7 areas in more detail through this video. If you already have your design, if you already have your fireplace, if you already have your framing, you know how big it is already, then just skip to the part of the video that you need, the cladding or maybe the rendering. This design was created actually for this fireplace. And the way to design yours is to choose your fireplace first. Your end result depends on the type of fireplace that you want. If you want a traditional square looking fireplace, you're going to have to build it different. You might have different specs for your framing. At first we wanted a gas fireplace, but the requirements for gas were a lot that I couldn't do it myself as a DIYer. It needed professional installation with ventilation, licensed plumbers to put the gas piping in for the gas. It became a lot more economical to choose an electric fireplace and install it myself. Gas is actually cheaper than electricity to run, but the installation is very expensive. The other benefits of this fireplace is that right now there's no heat coming out of it, so you can use it all summer long just for the ambience and change colors for the different types of moods. This is a Dimplex 72-inch. When I did the research on what type of fireplace I wanted, I found a local guy to help feed the local economy. All of the designs that I make are created in Sketchup, a free version online. It gives you the precise measurements, so you can do it on paper if you like, but I found by doing it in 3D, I can swivel it around and see where it fits in the room. I actually designed the whole room in SketchUp. I did all the framing in SketchUp. Okay, to help you out, I'm going to start one from scratch here, and let's pretend that I've gone online and I found a particular fireplace that I like. I've chosen a 72-inch. You can choose whatever you like, but in most online places, you'll scroll down and you'll find guides and installations. And if you press on the installation options, the PDF there, you'll come across some instructions. The other thing to really take note here in the install instructions is where the electricity lies. It shows you right here on the right hand side. This is where your electricity will be hardwired to. So you'll need to prepare your electricity after you build your frame. Now, what you're looking for built-in cavity instructions. There'll be other installation options like wall-mounted or stuff like that, but for this particular design, we're looking for a cavity one, and I'll show you. See, this A relates to this A, this B is the depth, and this C is height, and they give you inches and metric. So that's centimeters there, and that's metric imperial measurements here. So for this Sierra 72-inch, they're saying that you need a 64.4-inch rough opening. So even though it's 72-inch, there's a flange. So that's what the frame has to be, and this one has to be 6.5 inches deep. So then we'll come to SketchUp and set yourself up an account in SketchUp. This layout changes every time I come in. So here we are, launch here. You'll see here in SketchUp that I have all of my designs done in here. And some, like, this is the whole house. This is just the basement. This was the tree house, a table that I did for my wife, a box. And we're going to create new. Okay. Now you see that it was 6.5 inches deep is what the requirements are in the specifications, but materials don't come 6.5 inches. You have 5.5 inch wide wood, which they call 2 by 6. A 2 by 6 piece of wood is really 1.5 inches by 5.5 inches. But when you put the face on, when you put the cement board over top or drywall, whatever you're dealing with, that extra 1/2 inch gives you your 6 inches. But this one's asking for 6.5 inches. What we're going to do in this case is once we build the frame, we're going to bring it out from the wall 1/2 inch. Okay. And so it'll give you your exact 6.5 inches that it's required. I'm going to design it the same way I designed my previous one. And so all you have to do is grab that tool on the side here. Just grab a box. In the bottom right hand corner here, if you just start typing 5.5 and do the inch symbol, and then put a comma and 10 foot. 10 with the whatever that symbol is. And that'll reshape my bottom plate here. Then I get this extrusion tool and I lift it up. Now, dimensional lumber is 1.5 inches tall. So I'll go 1.5 and it'll assume that it's inches if I go like that, and it'll lift it up an inch and a half here. If you scroll up on your wheel, you can scroll in. Now that'll be 10 foot. What I want to find here is my center. What's the center? And I found an easy way to do this is you grab a midpoint here, grab this as a tape measure tool, and half of 10 foot is 5 foot. So you could go, just type 5 and put that symbol there for foot, and it'll find the center. And it doesn't look center, right? So if you find that this tool here, rotation tool, you'll see that that line is in the center. Okay. The math knows, even though it doesn't look like it to you, right? So that center line is going to becoming useful later. Okay. So let's go up here. We are going to get this move tool. And we want to do the studs. So let's go in here. And so the stud is, it's going to be 5.5 inches plus, so 1.5. Let's go 1.5 inch, 5.5. Right? Wrong way. It gave me the wrong way. So what I got to do, I got to do the other dimension first. Let's type that again. 5.5 inches, comma, 1.5 inch. Now it's the right way. Now I want to go up. So if I've got an 8-foot wall, I need to come down because there's going to be a top plate. So what you're seeing here is the bottom plate. I'm drawing my first stud. Bottom plate is 1.5. The top plate is also 1.5. So if it's 8 foot high to the ceiling, we have to get 8 foot minus 3 inches, which is 7 foot 9 inches, right? So let's get the extrusion tool. Just pull it up a little bit. And in the bottom right hand corner, it'll go 7 foot 3 inches. You go like this, and it'll push it up to that height. What I like to do here, and see how it's solid there? I like to get the pencil tool and square it off, because if you wanted to change your design later, it creates issues if you if you delete one thing, it'll delete a whole segment and create issues for you. So now that I've penciled that in there, it'll look at that stud as a single piece. If I wanted to delete that, it'll just delete that part and not the bottom plate. So now I need a top plate. Let's go to the top here. One way to do this is, I could have done it in the very beginning, But let's go up another 1.5 inches. So if you wanted to extend it, let's say you made a mistake and you say, I want to extend it, just get your extrusion tool here, pull it up, okay? Now, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, see the bottom right-hand corner, it changes. At 0 will be where it was, but if I pull it up 1.5 higher, you see 1.5 higher, that's 1.5 inches higher. So if I leave it there like that and undo it, I pulled it up 1.5 inches higher, okay? Another way to do that is pull it up a little bit, then go 1.5 inch, and it'll pull it up there. Now, if I pull this here, and I go 5.5 inch, comma 1.5, and it'll make it exactly there. And I can pull this across. Oh, I'll show you a clue. I'll grab that top there and I pull it here. How do I know when to stop? All you have to do is bring your extrusion tool here and it'll end right there. Okay, so that's your top plate. And let's go in. Sorry, my mouth keeps going away from the microphone, so I have to remember that I'm talking to the microphone. Let's go in and square this off here. Now there, by penciling this off, you can plainly see what it helps you design your materials for your purchase list. Okay, so you can see that there's a one stud here. Let's make another stud. I'm going to fast forward this. So you can see down the bottom right hand corner, it's already 5.5. I want it 5.5, comma 1.5 there. And then I don't have to do calculations anymore because I've already done it. I can just bring this up here like that. You see, as long as you bring it to the bottom there, it's all done, right? See, it automatically does it square for you. See how it goes on angles? You can create angles, no problem, but it'll default to a square if you come close to it and snaps to the edge. Okay, see, there's different height suggestions for different types of fireplaces. You might have a fireplace as a square type of one that's directly on the ground. A linear fireplace might come up a little bit, and the height of it depends on your choice of design. So let's go up 18 inches from the ground. Let's say that's the ground there. And remember, if you're on concrete and you've got a floor, maybe you've got a subfloor or just the laminate wood paneling, you know you're going to come up maybe 1/2 inch or something, okay? So just keep that in mind. So the actual floor might be here. So let's say you've got wood paneling and it's 1/2 inch. Let's go up 0.5 of an inch, and that represents your floor. And so from here, let's pull it up 18 inches. You can't see it there, let's scroll out. Now that represents the bottom of your fireplace. Okay, so how do we create a cavity in here? One way of doing it is from here, let's create. Oh, so if you made a mistake, let's redo that. Boop, like there. You can do undo. Oh, and you should save it. Let's call this. You better save it as you go. And we'll call this here Fireplace Demo. Okay. So it's saving automatically now. Okay. This tape measure tool helps me create little snap lines. I'll pull it up here and I want to snap it to there. Okay. Now, if you did it wrong, if you left it here, it'll create an angle. So you'd wanting to see where it snaps. See it snap there? Right there. Okay. Now I've got this line. So there's an intersection here. And this serves as a line for the bottom edge. Okay. Let's grab this tape again. I want to bring it to this side of the wall. See it snap. Now it's 90 degrees here. Okay. Now with that there, I can grab this tool and bring it along here. Now I know that 64.4 inches is the rough opening. So half of that is 32.2. So I'm going to go along here. It's 5.5, comma, 32.2 inches. There. Now let's extend this by 1.5 inches. We'll go 1.5. Okay. And let's extend this side by 32.2 inches. Now that's the bottom plate. That's the bottom plate of the rough opening. Okay. Now I'm going to go straight down here. It'll snap down the bottom. That'll give me a line that I can snap to down here. So I can grab I'm not sure what that tool's called. Does it give you a name? On edge? Whatever. Okay, so I'll get the corner. I'll go, see the bottom right-hand corner where the dimensions are? You can drag it. I want 1.5 for the stud. So it's easier just to type it. 1.5 like that, comma, 5.5. There we go. And let's take this all the way to the top. If I remembered the number, I could just type that number in. Okay, so in normal construction design principles, you want to have your studs at 16 inches apart for your centers for your drywall. But for this application, it's not that important because we're using a cement board and you won't have to do your 16-inch centers. So this will be 2 foot apart, I'm pretty sure. So let's see, probably 2 foot from that edge to that edge, something like that. But we'll see in a second. You can check your exact measurements by getting this measurement tool here. And you can go to this point to that point, 26.3 inches, 24.8 inches on that one. Okay. So that'll give you your dimensions when you're measuring it out in real life. These plans help you say, okay, there needs to be 24.8 inches. Okay. Now you're saying, hang on, 72 inch, that's 6 foot. Why is it 24.8? That's because this is the rough opening. The 72-inch flange comes out on the outside. So the studs need to be a little bit different. Let's do the same thing for the other side. It'll snap down at 90 degrees. So you'll be confident that that's directly down. And you always check down to your bottom right-hand corner to see the dimensions. Now I just dragged it and you can see, oh, it's 1.5 exactly there. Okay, that's good. Let's lift it up. Okay. Let's go back to the specs here. It wants it to be 18.5 high, the rough opening. Okay. So let's get the tape measure. We'll go, if you go to the center of it, if you just go to the edge here, you can do exact measurements or something. But if you go to the center, it'll lift up a dotted line. So I've lifted up, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, 10 inches there. I want to go 18.5. So let's just type in 18.5. And there it is there. Let's come in. And we want it 1.5 high. Alrighty. And let's take this to the edge like that. Okay, so that's our rough opening for the fireplace. And your TV niche opening, when I designed the area for the fireplace first, I went straight up and that gave me my TV niche. And so that told me how big of a TV I could have. I had a 80-inch maximum TV range. But when I installed it, I discovered it mostly hangs out anyway, because that's how we have it. You push it right in if you wanted to, but we have it out. You can have it out and you can swivel around, right, for dining table or whatever. And so realistically, you could have an 85-inch TV in it if you want to. Now this one is 6 inches deep. From floor to ceiling is about 8 foot and 5 inches. When you're designing it, have a look at the materials that you're going to be building it from. So I made it 10 foot long because it gave a 2 foot overhang from the 6 foot fireplace, as well as the materials that I was building it from, the cladding, is cement board. And cement board comes in 3 by 5 feet. So I lay 2 of those across, that's 10 foot. And so that minimized waste and maximized where my dollar went. It stretched my dollar further. Let's go 6 inches between those 2 plates. Let's go 6 inches. This is just what I did for our design. How you want it is how you want it. 1.5. There we go. Oh, something weird happened there. Alrighty. Okay, when you line them off like that, you want to do it both sides, or 3 sides, or 4 sides, in case you wanted to change. Let's pretend that you say, I think I want 8 inches between the TV and the fireplace. You can do that. Another thing about gas fireplaces is sometimes it needs I forget what it's called, but there's a calculation for the heat that comes off your fireplace for where the TV is, and you need a mantle. You need some sort of mantle to deflect the heat rising up to that hurts your electronics. But through the research I found, this fireplace is pretty good to have a TV above it. Alrighty. So let's bring the TV niche down. Let's have a look. What looks good here? This is all trial and error. You might find something else that you see. That is 6 inches from the top there. Let's make it different. Let's go 8 inches. Pop this in here. 1.5. There we go. And I can't see on the inside of there, right? It doesn't matter. You can just pull it across, and if you snap to that inside line there, it'll take it to the edge. See there? Okay, so there's our TV niche. At this point, you probably think that you're done, but I'm sorry to disappoint you. You're not there yet. This is just the basic frame. This is basically your rough opening for the fireplace. Now we have to design the framing to support the design. That can't hold there by itself. When I started constructing this, I was just building it, And after I did the framing is when I decided, oh, right, maybe I should document this and turn it into a tutorial. And so that's why I don't have any video of me creating the frame. You see that I've done it in metal here, and metal is great because it won't rot. Like in a basement area, it'll never rust because it's galvanized steel. If you're trying to look for it online, don't look for metal framing, look for steel studs is what you're looking for. Steel studs and steel tracks. The tracks are the horizontal ones that the studs sit into. Another thing that I love about the steel is that they're put in by little screws, and if you make a design change or a mistake, you can easily unpop the screws, and it's so light, it's really easy to change. What I don't like about steel right now, especially right now, is that it's more expensive. It's about 40% more expensive and really inconvenient because in homework for doing this video, I went online to find out what the current prices are, and I can't find tracks and studs all in one spot. I have to go to different stores, and in some stores like Home Depot, it's not available. The tracks weren't available in store. You had to order it online. At the time of this video, it's really difficult. I did this whole basement. The whole thing here was all metal framing. I did design it for wood, but that was right when COVID hit and lockdowns happened, and the price of wood just skyrocketed. And I built the pantry there. The pantry wall there was made from wood framing, and right after I did that is when the price shot up, and steel framing became cheaper than wood at the time. And so I ended up going metal. And metal was really good for this here. It was really light. And I was a bit concerned that metal could be too light to hold the drywall, but it wasn't. It was really strong. You could hang from it. But yeah, metal's super easy to construct with. I really like the construction process of metal, but right now it's so inconvenient and expensive. You'll add cost to you. But if you want to go metal, if you really want to go metal, let me know, and I will do a tutorial on how to do that. That can't hold there by itself. So what we're going to do right now is do something that you think, oh, you're not going to see why this is required, but we're going to continue these lines around. Okay, I'll just do this fast so you're not waiting around. Okay, so we've lined these up. Basically, this plank here has gone all the way through. And to make that look more clear, we're going to erase these lines. Oops. So see how these studs will sit on top of these planks, okay? So how are these studs going to stay there? Well, what you have to do is, before you build this wall here, this part of the frame has to come first. And we're going to do a 1x5, 1.5 here. We'll go 5.5, 1.5. And then we're going to pull it down. You can see here when we construct it, this stud here will be nailed in first before you put these side studs in. So I keep forgetting that I'm talking to a microphone. I have to put my mouth to the microphone, and I keep forgetting. Sorry. I have to raise the levels in editing. Alrighty. Now, that's your rough opening here. There are your supporting studs that you nail to. So just go over that a bit. See how when I click that, the whole thing here is dotted. That's because I haven't done this. Okay. So this one here, the order is you install the bottom frame first, top frame, and you'll make sure it's in line. You can actually do this all on the floor. You can lay it down and install it on the floor and tip it up. It's a little bit challenging to tip it up because when you tip it up to the roof, if it's clean to the roof, the length, the distance from here to here, that corner to that corner, is longer than that corner to that corner. So when you tip it up from the floor to put it up to the roof, you need a maul or sledgehammer to smash it in, or you can make it a little bit shorter to help it. But it's a little challenging. But you can do it either way. People do it either way. Some people like to. It's called toenailing it. You put the top frame on, you put the bottom frame on, and you toenail in. I think most people will lay it down so they can nail underneath and on top. They'll nail on top and underneath, so it's nice and solid there. But you'll do the top and bottom plate first, and the side ones, and then add the stuff in the middle. That's the order of it. And then you'll start from the bottom. You'll get once this panel is in, then you'll get this one. You'll nail it in from the side, and then you'll get this one, nail it into the side. Make sure they're the same length. What we decided, 18 inches or whatever it was. And then you'll put this one on top and screw that down. Actually, I recommend screws because if you make a mistake, you can redo it. You can take them undone. Then you'll install that one, then 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 this one. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense here. Okay, and you're still not finished. You're still not finished. So, in proper framing techniques, what you'll do is you get from center here. Sorry, let's go down here. So, studs are to code 16 inches apart. So from center to center. So let me see here. Let's get the tape measure. We'll go 16 inches. See if you don't see down the bottom here, make sure you go along the face that you want it to. If it disappears behind there, it's measuring it on an angle. See it disappear? Anyway, go along here, type in 16, and there is your 16 inches. And if you grab that dotted line and go 1.5, 1.5, whoops. That's a little bit weird what happened there. Sometimes you have to turn around to see what's going on. Oh, look, it's off there. So that happens sometimes. So undo that. See, it's way out there. That's not the right it's not on the right face. So let's get this one here. Pull it out and see it popped to 1.5. Alrighty. Alrighty then. And we'll go 1.5, 5.5. There we go. And pull that up. If it doesn't pull up straight away, hang on, let me just unselect that. If you get the pull tool and it doesn't highlight like that, see how it highlights, okay? If it doesn't highlight straight away, just get this point tool and point on it, then do the pull tool, and then pull it up. Now, what we will do is you go 16 from there and you continue. Now, you can either start from left to right, go 16, 16, 16, 16, or go from right to left, 16, 16, 16, 16, as long as you know which way you started from. And so this one only goes, see how that doesn't highlight? It's not highlighting, right? It's not going to pull up. So we need to highlight it first, then get your pull up tool, pull it up to here. This one only goes to underneath the rough-in for the fireplace. So I'm going to continue this in fast motion so you can see what happens. One easy way to do this, because we've got to go through. We've got to go all the way through, right? So one way to do this, instead of, so we don't have to do it over and over and over again, is let's highlight that. We'll continue pulling it all the way through like that. Then what we have to do is line these off like that. Line it off on this side like that. I don't care about that one. I don't want to keep that one. I want to keep this one. So I line it off here, and I line it off here. I line it off here, and I line it off here. Now, if we get the eraser and erase this one, we don't want this stud because that's the fireplace. We erase that there, and that disappears. And now I've kept the stud for it in there. Now, what happens if I didn't line it off, right? So see, I haven't lined that off there. Sorry. Let's go. This is one. I want to lose that one. I haven't lined this one off here. So if I erase this one without lining it off, it made that disappear too. Okay. So if you made a mistake like that, and instead of, you could actually pull this in like this. You could do it like that. I'm just going to leave that mistake there just for sake of speed. And I'm just teaching you basic principles. Okay, so this stud here is our last 16 to this wall. So where do you put the next 16? Do you go from 16 from here to there? No. What happens is you continue your 16 from here. So normally what would happen is you'll go 16 and it will go there. And the new 16 from there go here. And so that way, let's say it wasn't you that was covering it, the person who was covering it, or the whoever's coming in later, know that every 16 there's a stud there. So I probably wouldn't do this in real life. I'll probably just put one in the middle just for the stability. But if I was to teach you proper framing techniques, you would put a 16 here. And you do a 16 here. Now that is correct framing design there. It's solid, it's to code. That's the proper way to do it. Now, if you had a fireplace that was deeper, like say it was 18 inches, that could be the face of it. And what you'll do is, you know, you can actually get rid of this guy. Boop! But he's just good for comparison. Basically, you block it out this way. So you would, I'm just going to do this quickly. So if you had to do a block like that, that's how you would frame it. Just pretend that's 1.5 wide of a stud there, and that's how you'd frame it. And so this stud here, you'd nail through there to that stud. Okay, so that's if you had to have it deeper because you were doing a gas fireplace or a different type of fireplace that needed deeper. That's how you block it off. Or maybe you're doing a corner. You're probably doing a corner linear fireplace, but you block it off like that. So I hope that's helped you with your framing techniques. Ask me any questions below if you need some more help. Remember when I did 7.3 instead of 7.9? And this happens in real life too sometimes. You might make a height error or something like that, just like I did. So what you would do is you would get uh, the part that was wrong. I made it wrong by 6 inches, right? I said 7.3 instead of 7.9, so I made it to the wrong height. So if you make it wrong height, it's going to be wrong in your room. So you want to fix that up. So you want to pick this up by 6 inches. So you just go drag, press 6, and then press enter, and it'll pick it up by 6 inches, right? So, well, that doesn't look very good. That looks stupid. So what we have to do is go underneath and shrink it. And you might have to do one panel at a time. Go up by 6. Go up by 6. Okay. So then you can fix these. You can line all these off at once. It's a pain when you make mistakes, but mistakes are fixable. And then just erase. Now, nobody's seeing this except for you, right? So if you know what that is, you know the deal yourself. I've got a lot of mistakes in my drawings, but I say, oh, I know what that is. And then you can get accurate measurements. You can go, okay, how big is that stud there? And you'll get this measuring tool, put it to that point to that point, pull it out. And now you can see that you have to cut those studs at 93 inches. Okay, so that's a 93-inch stud. From this, you can tell what materials you need. So let's, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to undo this to help see the simpleness of it all. And I'm going to erase these lines here just to make it clean. Okay, so what materials do you need here? Let's pretend that back part isn't there. We're just going to do this face. So we need 8-foot studs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 8-foot studs, and 1, 2 10-foot planks. Also, we need these. We need stud material for these. So we know this is 6 in between. 6, that's 1 foot, that's 2 feet. This is, 8 inches, 8 inches. So let's say we need maybe 2 or 3 extra studs. And if you purchase extra studs, you can always take them back, right? So 9 plus, let's get two 2x6 10-foot planks and 12 2x6 8-foot studs. That's your shopping list. Here's your cement board. This one here is, normally it's more expensive, but right now it's cheaper. But it is actually harder to cut. You need a grinder with a wheel to grind these ones. But these ones here is 1/2 inch. This is what I used. And you can score this with a knife, a utility knife, and snap it into shape. So this is what I use. And it comes in 3 by 5 feet. So 2 of these make a 10-foot length. So it's true that these have a smoother line. These will give you a smoother finish. If you've got the means to be able to cut these smooth, it'll give you a smoother finish. However, in cutting these, and if they go rough like that, it doesn't really matter because you're covering it with the corner bead anyway. So you won't see the roughness of this. So I recommend this one. It's easy to apply. This is a nicer finish. You don't need the weight and strength of this one because it's just going vertical. And this is sufficient. This looks like a mess, right? That's because they're called nailers, just scrap pieces of wood. Because I gotta mount things behind the TV, and now I don't have to try and figure out where the studs are I just put them anywhere. So the next task is to cut out the cement board, put it on. We're gonna some cement board the whole area. Cutting out corners with your utility knife is the hardest part because you have to go all the way through. But when you don't have to go all the way through, you can just score it one side, flip the board over, and just run it. It'll just snap off. The tool I'm using here is a drywall screw gun. It certainly makes the job easier, but you don't really need it. All you need is a screw gun with a Phillips head screwdriver bit. In the top here, we have some power outlets that I've got to cut around. So how do you mark that on the board? Do you just take measurements and then do it? Yeah, you can do that. But I found an easy way to do it. What you do is get just some vegetable oil, soak it in a tissue, then place it on the frame of the outlet. Make sure it's nice and oily. Get your peas. And the oily impression isn't much, right? But it gives you enough to show where it's got to be. And where it doesn't come out, you can just measure it and cut it up there. Then cut it out on the back side. I cut 3 and then scored that one, bent it over, and cut the other side off. Then it's always a good idea to cut it just a little bit bigger because sometimes it's too tight. You can always fill it in with, like if it's drywall, you can fill it in with mud, or this you can fill it in with cement if it's too big. But too small is a bit hard. So you have to maybe scrape the sides out to make it a little bit bigger. Give it a test fit. So that's good, except I need to shave the bottom off here a bit. Let's say your place is 8-foot walls. You need 6 panels, 6 on this face. So 2 5-foot panels down here, 2 5-foot panels in the middle, and you need to trim off another foot for the top up there. So I use 6 here, plus you need a 7th panel because these 6-inch edges down there. And you got the 6-inch edges inside the TV niche. You don't need to put any cement board on the inside of the fireplace because the flange of the fireplace covers up the edges. And this is the metal corner bead here. It's 10 foot long, so it's plenty. You just need 2 on the outside. You need enough for the inside of your TV niche. And this one is the paper one. This is a inside, and these will work well for the insides as well. So you can go either paper or metal, either one. Metal is tougher on the corners, makes your corners a bit tougher. But these, I haven't felt this one before. This one feels pretty strong. So, oh look at that, these are more expensive. The metal ones are cheaper. How about that? How about that? And there's plastic ones as well. So you can go plastic, paper, or metal beading. Get yourself a roll of this tape. This is for the joints in your cement board. And this is the joint compound you'll put in between the cracks of the cement board and smooth it over and over the beading to give it a good smooth texture. So you'll need a bucket of this along with your joint tape. Get one of these 10 or 12 inch knives to spread the compound. The corner ones come in handy, though you don't really need it, but they're helpful. And you also need one of these. I neglected to video the process of what I was doing here, but I put the joint tape down and put the compound over the joints. And sometimes I had to sand it back smooth and redo it again, but I also put the corner strips on, those corner beads on, and compounded over those. In the store, I mentioned inside and outside corner bead, and what I mean by that is this here is the outside, and the insides are in here. And so I can use metal ones on the outside, or you can use paper if you like, and maybe metal or paper on the inside. But when you go between the drywall on the outside of your fireplace, use paper ones because they are thinner. It's easy to feather and make it smoother into your existing wall. The rendering that we chose is not built for this. It's actually called Plenty Patch, and you use it to cover up cracks and holes in your driveway and things. But it makes a great concrete render. It feathers out. I've seen YouTube videos where people have made concrete countertops on top of laminate. They've repurposed laminate kitchen counters to look concrete and feathered this stuff on. You can't do too much at one time because it goes off fast. So you can only mix enough pony patch that you can do in 10 to 15 minutes. And the batter that I'm mixing it to, the consistency I'm mixing it to is like pancake batter. And it goes thick pretty fast. So you don't want it too dry, otherwise it's really hard to put on. But I've got to get all the locks out of it. So I do all the mixing and cleaning while Amy does all the application. Might be too runny, can't tell. I might put a little bit more in. Oh, that'll be too much. It's pretty smooth. Smoother than, way smoother than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. It feels soft.
The whole thing The whole thing costs about $300, depending on the type of sealer that you use. The sealers can range from $30 to $200, and the sealer that we use was probably overkill because it's a food grade sealer that we use on our concrete countertops. So we had leftover sealer from that, so we use it on there. If you want a tutorial on this particular sealer, let me know, because it would actually take a whole video to do this tutorial. It's quite difficult. The sealer company provide instructions, but it's behind a password wall. I had an allergic reaction to something. I got this rash going all in my face, and yesterday my eye was sort of puffed up and closed up. I got it down my arms. I'm not sure if it was a chemical that I touched or something. Anyway, so I'm on my 4th day of this. It feels like sandpaper and it stings in the shower. Anyway, so what we're doing today, it's pretty fun. We're going to install the fireplace. We've had the fireplace for nearly a year now. So now we get to install it. Hopefully we get it right. Hopefully I built the cavity the right size, huh? It's going to be bad if it's the wrong size. Initial test activated. Yeah. See these little fine hair cracks in here? That just naturally happened when we did it. And I thought, oh, it looks pretty cool. It looks kind of more rustic. If you don't like something, you just sand it back. Like when you're doing your compounding, you can just sand it back. If you wanted it smooth where it didn't look so rustic, I actually don't know how to do that, but I like how it looks. Well, I hope this has been helpful for your project, and if you have any questions, please drop them below and I'll do my best to answer them.